Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough podcast, where every week we're interviewing small business owners that support small business owners. But today we have a guest who has gotten into various different things, but it's a unique marketing pitch. They actually help brands work with athletes, especially with college athletes, in some of the new rules and regulations and facilitate marketing platforms for them. And we've got the co-founder and CPTO of MOGL, Matthew Himmelstein, who is going to jump on here and we're going to have a great conversation. But there's some unique things about Matthew. So stick around as we jump in. Matthew, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Jason, thank you so much for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about MOGL and what it specializes in and does and how it helps its clients succeed?
Yeah. MOGL is an influencer marketing platform that specializes in matching brands with athlete influencers, primarily college athlete influencers. And what's interesting about that is, first of all, 3 years ago, you couldn't do this. All this under this, everybody's heard it called NIL, which stands for name, image, and likeness, that has enabled college athletes to monetize their NIL through these sports sponsorships. That's really come out of the woodwork. And the other thing is that as the athletes have grown their social media presence, what we've found is that they have 6x the engagement rates on the channels like Instagram and TikTok. And when you start putting them together with brands, that means they can deliver above average and elite results for their clients who, want to showcase their new fashion, new drink, bring stuff to market, and really drive awareness amongst Gen Z audiences. So been around for 3 years, more to come there, but very excited about what we've been able to do with MOGL in terms of success for, some of the biggest brands in the United States.
Yeah, and so you've been doing product and developing products, helping big businesses develop products, including Eventbrite, it looks like, in some of your history. But what gave you the inspiration to go down this road with MOGL?
So my background is I was a college athlete. I actually played football at Columbia University, and so I was very small time, but in terms of football wise, but subject to all the NCAA rules and regulations. I recently teamed up with Aiden Sayal's other co-founder, who'd seen similar challenges at Notre Dame University around, these college athletes not being able to monetize their NIL. And so when the laws changed, we got together to really take advantage of, at its core, like helping athletes monetize their NIL. And then the business opportunity around that is really putting the athletes in a great position with the brands to deliver on these influencer marketing campaigns.
Yeah, in your development of the business, right? You went from nothing to where in 3 years you've been able to grow the business steadily and continue to progress. What has been some of the things that you have used and technologies that have enabled you to grow rapidly?
Well, I think, modern tech stack, not to get like too nerdy, but yeah, as the frameworks have evolved, like you kind of like can just outsource some of the more challenging aspects of running kind of like a software based business. And that's core. I think if you look at Amazon and AWS, what they enable, every month they have like a new release where instead of having to hire another engineer to do a very specific thing like with a database, you can just pay them for it. And then obviously over the past year, what's dramatically changed is, with all the AI and LLM technology going out, there's certain things that I would have previously had to, hire a data analyst to do. I can just ask the chat GPT, say, hey, how do I write the SQL query? And I'm able to like put that in there, and then I can up level my own, technical skills enough to, ward off having to hire, more staff so that we can stay lean, mean, and, really go after it. And so those two things around, just the industry infrastructure continue to progress, paired with, all this wave of AI technology is just starting to make things go way faster in terms of building a business.
Yeah, absolutely. AI has been a big part of the conversation in the 40 plus podcasts I've recorded in the last 3 months. Almost every one of them has had some conversation around AI, especially when they're talking about the future. But the really interesting part is AI really is now. People are using it to help benefit their businesses. They're helping to write programming. It's one of the best ways to be able to jump in and start doing some programming and make it super fast. And I've used it myself for just converting into basic HTML emails. Take standard text and just say make this HTML code so it will fit inside of whatever software or system I'm building or using at the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I give you a very detailed example. So, like I said, I'm kind of like a poor man's data analyst. Within writing SQL queries, depending on the database, there's like different flavors that have different like syntax. Like think like the difference between like Portuguese and like Spanish. And trying to understand it myself, like there's no way. I just give up and hire somebody. But with ChatGPT, you say, "Hey, this is a SQL query for MySQL 5. Can you convert it into PostgreSQL?" And it just does it, and it just works. And that's like hours of research that I would have to do just to make a simple, query so I can answer like a basic question, and it's just instantaneous.
And so these tools help enable things, but we recorded this on January 14th, and I say that because it's going to come out it'll be a couple months before this comes out. But on January 10th, you released an article on LinkedIn that talks about the future of what AI is going to be looking like, especially from an AI agent model.
Mm,
And to be thinking about that today and realizing that there's these this stuff's already in development. It may not be mainstream and it may not even be for the select few at the moment, but it's in development and in the works. Talk a little bit about how AI agents
yeah.
will help facilitate some of what you've been doing and progressing further forward.
Well, agents is the bingo word, so we scored a triple score there. I think the interesting is people argue a lot within the tech industry about like what an agent is, and I don't get too much wrapped up in that. Um, like by one definition, an agent is any LLM that has access to tools, and by that definition, like ChatGPT in of itself, when you like create an image or search the web, is an agent. The interesting thing about what most people are calling agentic like workflows is that you are taking this technology and stacking multiple agents on top of each other with access to these tools so that one of the agents is the one that you actually interact with, and then it actually kicks off to the other agent a sub prompt, if you will, that then says like, "Hey, go write this. Go look up this email. Go write this email. Go schedule this calendar event." And by having this kind of like, organizational hierarchy within the agents, you actually kind of like build this virtual business, like staff of business that can run things on your behalf based on you sending the Slack or WhatsApp, or there's different ways to communicate. And as you start to think about what that means for end users, athletes who are using our software or brands who are using our software, where it's like, oh, they run into some issue, they want to talk to a sales rep or something, or customer support. It's like, oh, I don't really want to go to, like the answers in our fact, but like I got to go look it up, figure out what it is. It's like the paradigm that you're looking at is being able to hit a button or on the website, chat interface, or even like talk to it and say, hey, this isn't working for me. Can you help? And rather than the software just spitting back some article and having the human like do the final resolution, the agent can spit back the article and say, "Hey, do you want me to fix this for you?" And then the user hits a button, and then the agent tries and fixes it for you, and it will do it as well as all the steps and all the your customer support people will do it. It's just truly amazing, like what's been happening with technology. Like it can, it can click on buttons on a website. It can access, data via the API. It can send emails, for you to review or on your behalf, send you calls. It really is going to dramatically change just how business is done and make things easier to do it. And personally, I see that from a product development standpoint as thinking through your products that you build as both for your end users, but then how is that going to interact and be applicable to these AI agents who also have to essentially use your software as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's a critical thing. I know I do a lot of automation programming for integrating multiple different systems, whether that's from a aspect of just creating automation or from an aspect of creating dashboards for people, employees to view at a company so their key metrics are constantly and instantly updated, and everyone has their own custom API call, but to be able to have an agent or an AI be able to say, "Hey, I want to be able to just type in, I need X, Y, and Z from W, P, and Q," and it goes and does it for you would have, I mean, 3 years ago, I spent 3 months writing a dashboard system, and it would have been able to be done in 3 hours with that type of technology. It wasn't out yet, or available, but
I mean, even when you look at like within the industry, they have like all these benchmarks, and I forget the specific one, but agents in July of last year could only complete 5% of tasks. And in December of last year, 2024, agents were already up to 49% of tasks. And so as we go on throughout 2025 with the stuff that, OpenAI has previewed like O3, um, that supposedly is like 85% completion. That's human level completion of tasks. Like, successfully putting that head to head with, customer support or, marketing contractors. Um, and it's now just you saying it and getting exactly, what you want, being able to fine tune it. And the agent's not going to get upset if you ask them to do it again.
yeah, and so for those that are listening out there, if you're in the small business world, which is my typical audience, pay attention to what the future holds and utilizing, because being able to utilize this isn't necessarily a soft or a was soft wasn't the right word to use there. This isn't a money saving technique. This is a fundamental mental shift of how you approach business so that you can stay ahead of the curve and be able to utilize people and employees out there. If you're listening and working for a small business, paying attention to this AI and how you can utilize it better to be able to continue to keep yourself relevant, because it will change jobs. I will not say it will eliminate, but it will change how people do jobs on a daily basis. And it's going to continue to progress as Matthew just commented there, into that 85% completion rate is going to create an impact in the world and the whole world economic as we continue to progress forward. Let's be real. You didn't start your business to feel stuck, overwhelmed, or bored out of your mind. But yet, here you are, spinning, stalled, or just chasing every shiny object just to stay motivated. And I know exactly how you feel, because I used to do the same thing. But that's why I built the Momentum community for founders like you. It's for people who are ready to get serious, simplify, and build a business that actually moves forward. It uses peer accountability, and it's what I used to be able to grow my business successfully and have a great exit. Does it sound like something you need? Click the link in the description below and let's have a conversation. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, as since your listeners are mainly small business owners, I think it's a fascinating time. You think about somebody who owns a small business, maybe they're, I don't know, self-employed, like medical devices salesmen. They're kind of like struggling to try and like sign new clients. Like, oh, how do I do like marketing? How do I like reach out to get more meetings to do sales? It's like you're just going to be able to like quote unquote hire one of these marketing agents, give it kind of like the top level stuff, hook it up to your system, and it's going to be able to like execute on it. And like once that becomes kind of like real easy and intuitive to use, like it's just going to dramatically change how you think about, your business and like where the value is. It's going to let you focus on, like what you care about. It's like the adage was like, oh, like I want to, sell flowers, and so I'm gonna start, my own flower shop. And then, you're the business owner, so you end up hiring somebody to sell flowers so you can go work on all the other stuff that nobody else can do. It's like you're gonna be able to have an AI agent do the stuff that nobody else wants to do, like the accounting and the HR and stuff, and like you can still sell flowers. So it's just gonna dramatically change, kind of the makeup of small businesses. And my personal belief is it's going to radically make it significantly easier to make small businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to continue to progress in those ways for sure. What would you say you're doing marketing and you're building this brand, what sets you apart from any other competitors that maybe is jumping up in this space that it goes up against Mogul?
Yeah, so within like kind of like influencer marketing as like a whole, like Mogul's a subset with like athlete influencers. And the key there is the relationships that we have, with throughout the athletic and university organizations to be able to get and have athletes come on the platform and have like a delightful experience. Um, and that athlete influencers and our ability to reach Gen Z segments us for influencer marketing. Within athlete influencers and some of our competitors who are trying to do what we do, we also differentiate there by integrating directly with the social media platforms of Instagram, TikTok, X, what have you, to pull directly in the data um, that and report on the social media campaigns. One of the dirty little secrets of influencer marketing is nobody knows like if it works. But because we have the athletes to upload the links to the social media and we go and grab it directly from Instagram, we can tell you the CPM, the cost per engagement, how many bookmarks, how many shares, all that level data. So you can actually, as a marketing person or somebody running the influencer marketing campaign, can actually understand how well it's doing and then make informed decisions around how to continue and optimize the campaign going forward.
Yeah, very neat stuff to be able to go through. And there was a key element to listen. There's informed decisions. You're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks. It's being able to make informed decisions and turn dials appropriately. Looking forward into the future over the next 5 years, where do you see this going? I mean, influencer marketing is especially with college athletes, is new. You said 3 years ago is the change. So what's the dynamic? What's the shift going to look like over the course of the next 5 years?
Yeah, so for Mogul as like a business perspective, you got these two kind of like competing separate influences that dramatically impact our business. First, on the influencer marketing side, which is the main business thrust, I think at the end of 2023, there was a big report that suggested that digital media spend was 700 million in the U.S. For 2023. Only $7 million went towards influencer marketing, but the suggested growth rate of influencer marketing was that it was going to head towards 25-30% penetration, just because it's essentially a scalable way to do awareness ads in a much more measurable format than television. So we see that shift happening in real time for the businesses that use mobile to be effective. And consumer facing goods that want to reach Gen Z audiences, when they come on and use the athlete influencers to promote their stuff, it ends up working really, really well. On the other side is this, on the athlete, how they monetize their NIL. I mean, that's changing dramatically as we speak. There's like a potential house settlement going on. Are they going to get athletes going to get paid directly from the schools? Most of that talk and discussion is around essentially men's football, men's basketball, and somewhat women's basketball as the three primary revenue drivers. The rest of the student athletes can still monetize their NIL, like in these athlete sponsorship ways. And this is going to end up being, one of the most effective ways for them to do it, just because all I got to do is post on social media authentically. And then when they find a brand that matches kind of like their values and what they want to talk about. They do kind of like what they call a collab with the brand to highlight them, and it works. And then even within the football spaces of the world, you get these weird things where we'll see how it shakes out, but like only 4 years can be can be kind of like compensated directly from the school, and you have this fifth unfunded year that probably has to still be like sponsorship dollars to pay for the NIL. So we see the future of athlete influencer marketing as one of the most cost-effective ways to bring something to market when you're trying to target Gen Z audiences.
Yeah, excellent. It's been a great conversation thus far. We've been a little bit all over the place, but it has been lots and lots of value for the audience out there. Are you ready to jump into our lightning round?
Sure. All right.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
Remember, lighthearted, quick hitters. It's all for fun and to just make it a little cheery towards the end. The first question is super simple: coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee. Easy.
Coffee is a pretty clear winner over a lot of these. How about cats or dogs?
Personally, I'm a dog guy.
If you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
One of those like big lances, like
Okay,
like really long, so I can just keep the zombies like away from me.
there you go. How about a favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
My favorite quote is "Little by little, one travels far," and that's J.R.R. Tolkien in the Lord of the Rings Fellowship.
That is a very good quote and a very, very accurate one. How about one book that has influenced your life the most?
I'm a father. This is a lot of books, but I think one of the more recent ones that I read is if you have little kids, there's a book, Raising Lions. It is actually about how to, make sure that you give your kids the space in order to do things themselves, but then put boundaries in place so that they don't walk all over you. And so it's a really good book. I'll make sure you get the link and you can highlight it. So anybody who's a parent, I would little kids, I would highly recommend doing it. It really helped out a lot.
Yeah, that does sound like a great book. And how about the biggest obstacle you have had to overcome and one lesson you have learned from it?
So on a personal level, when I played football, I was like 300 pounds, and I played offensive line. There's a lot of reasons for that weight. But when I stopped playing football, I kind of was kind of sick of being overweight and fat, and I kind of really committed myself to losing a bunch of weight, and I got down to 210 pounds or something like that, and really changed my life. And both from a health standpoint, but also interacting, with people and just being able to be a little bit more personable. I think the way that I did it in terms of just day in and day out and being on a diet and, running 6 miles a day and, no cheat days, kind of for 8 months, that kind of will and determination and ferocity that I brought to something kind of as my college football career was ending. I kind of took that as a blueprint for everything that I've done in life since that, particularly on the business side, and really kind of built a plan and then stuck to the plan and kind of gone after it day after day after day after day. And just that methodical march towards greatness is something that I really truly believe in deeply.
Yeah, that is a very, very powerful statement. I've been through my own weight loss journeys, story for other times, but the very, very powerful. And that is it's getting a plan in place and then sticking to the plan and over committing to the plan because it's going to take you longer than you think it's going to take you.
Always.
Valuable information. Matthew, how can our listeners collaborate with MOGL or yourself if they would like to reach out?
Sure. Yeah. The website's mogl.online. We're, techie and weird. On Instagram, it's MOGL. So just MOGL. You'll see all our cool collabs from athletes. If somebody wants to reach out to me, it's Matthew Himmelstein on LinkedIn. Probably the easiest, best way. I'm always looking to, interact and help people with whatever I can.
Excellent. Matthew, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And for the listeners out there, all of the information will be in the show notes, including the link to the article we talked about AI and AI agents, and Matthew's various different history of how he has progressed and done product offerings. It has been a fantastic conversation. For more small business breakthrough podcasts, check out this playlist right here. And until next time.